He is the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission of Nigeria, Professor Joash Ojo Amopitan SCN. He is at present not here, so he is joining us. He's joining us at the moment. At the moment, Professor Abiola Sani SAN, my friend, is representing him for now. I move on to introduce a renowned Nigerian legal luminary and academic, a judge representing Nigeria and Africa at the Commonwealth Arbitral Tribunal sitting in London, the founder and senior partner of Azingi and Azingi Law Firm, a man widely regarded as a symbol of intellectual excellence and cultural leadership within Nigeria and the African continent, a man who is a senior advocate, a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies, who served as the 5th Director General of Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies. I'm talking about the 10th of Kilo of Asaba, and now the 14th Asaba of Asaba. Please be a His Royal Majesty, the people of the SAN. Welcome, sir. Let me also introduce a special guest of honor, a distinguished jurist with extensive experience known for her contributions to legal precedents, particularly in constitutional law, and her commitment to judicial integrity and reforms. She became the 5th female justice to the Supreme Court of Nigeria and leads the Supreme Court and the Nigerian National Judicial Council. She's a high bencher, the president of the International Association of Women Judges, a recipient of National Honor of the Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, and the Chairman of Nigeria Government Council. She is not here right now, but we'll still introduce her. A round of applause for Honorable Justice Williams and GCON. And of course, today the guest lecturer is the Senior Advocate of Nigeria, a man who capped his academic pursuits with a PhD in International Economic Law. He worked as a legal officer, company secretary, legal advisor, executive director, a special assistant, and is also a principal partner at KWO Law Firm. We will hear more about him when the citation is read. But let's give a big round of applause to welcome Professor Theodore Bala-Malika. I'll move on to introduce the principal officers of the Institute. Let me begin with the Institute Secretary, my madam, an able woman who understands her job and does it well. Please put your hands together for Mrs. Regina Kuzo. The next person I will introduce, please clap, because if we do all of this and we will get no stipend, it's almost like a lost glory. We need that brand envelope. Please put your hands together for Mr. Abdul Ghani Yolani. Then we have our institute librarian, the woman who is in charge of all our documents, all our publications, all our resources. We are nothing so much without the library. That is our strength. And so we put our hands together this morning as we welcome Professor Rita John Okeke. I'll also introduce the Director of Research, Professor Emmanuel Okon. You're welcome. And we also introduce other professors of the Institute. Oh, allow me pause. I'm still one of the past teachers here. I think he is the 6th Director General of the Institute. Please put your hands together for Professor I'm also seeing the immediate past Institute Secretary. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome. And we also introduce other professors of the Institute, Professor Peter Ayebe. We have Professor Ayebe. Our HODs, we thank all of you, our directors. Thank you for being here. Let me also formally introduce Professor Sani Abiola. He is wearing so many caps today. God has to help him. He is here as the Dean of the Faculty of Law. That's one fact. He is also representing Emeritus Professor Obilade, who is the fellow of the Nigerian School of Advanced Legal Studies. I think he's about 88 years now. A lot of people will not know. He authored the Nigerian legal system in 1979. If you were first year in our time, you must read that book. So put your hands together again for him. And of course, the third cap, before he got the fourth one, to hold on for the chairman of today's occasion, he's also representing the Vice Chancellor of the University of Lagos, Professor of Financial Information. All right. Please, I want to invite some people to the front seat while I continue the introductions. Please, can Alhaji Shaibu Abiko, former General Manager, NNPC PLC. Please, can you come forward? We still have a chair in front. Please come forward. Put your hands together for him. Clap well, like you're going to. Thank you so much. We also have Professor Onosiru Onipo. I hope I pronounced it well. He's the rector of Bola Ahmed Tinubu Federal Polytechnic in Abuja. Thank you. We have the representatives of the President of the National Industrial Court. I presume, is it yourself? Okay, the President of North, Professor Akintayo, please. Can we see? Oh, thank you. Okay. I see all of those things that they discussed at the... Please, sir, can you come to the front? That's still the white seat. I see all that is posted on the group chat, so I know who to hold responsible. Welcome, sir. We also have Honorable Justice Modube Nicole Clay, representing the Chief Justice of Lagos State. Also, Honorable Justice. What that confused me when I saw Jay as the first name. Honorable Justice, we know you as Honorable Justice Dele Peters. All of us here, we left us as dinner pastor. Presenting Honorable Justice Bibi Kayi, who also used to be one of us. Welcome, sir. Honorable Justice Bibi Kayi, both FR. Welcome, sir. Let me also introduce the people who came with the Asaba. It was glorious to hear all the sounds and all the trumpets. When they arrived, we said, yes, he's the person we've always known. So he came along with Chief Victor Mosu, the Angoleka of Asaba. We have Chief Barrister Philip Mokolo, the Chief of Staff to His Royal Majesty. Honorable Eduaka Ebodi, am I correct? Welcome. He's the Chief Protocol Officer to His Royal Majesty. Obeshi Michi, Diaspora Media Consultant. There's Obeshi Barrister Chiedu Ndukezi. Welcome. Obeshi Uche Okudi, Personal Assistant to His Royal Majesty. Also have Obeshi Chukwude. I'm sorry, forgive me. Protocol Officer, welcome. Mr. Andubisi, you're welcome. Isioma Kowe, you're welcome. Dr. Edwin Onyejimbe, you're welcome. The entourage of His Royal Majesty, you're welcome. It's beautiful to see all of you looking crystal white. Welcome. We also have the Institute Secretary of the National Education Institute, Mr. Olumo, representing the administrator of the institute. Please, you're welcome, sir. We also have Honorable Justice Oshodi. You're welcome, ma'am. Oh, you're welcome, sir. Okay. I greeted you earlier. Welcome, sir. Honorable Justice Pedro. Welcome, ma'am. Welcome. We have Mrs. Oluyemisi Adefoluke Ogunola, Executive Secretary of Lagos State Law Reform Commission. Oh, welcome, ma'am. Your name was specifically kept. Welcome. We also have Mrs. Butter. No, Mrs. Bello. She's the DG of NAPTIP. DG of NAPTIP. Is she here? Oh, welcome, ma'am. Welcome. We also have Professor Onilon from BAT Polytechnic, Abuja. Is he here?
Yes, we are.
Okay. We have a representative of the Nigerian Revenue Service. The chairperson of the Nigerian Revenue Service is being represented by Ade Dolapo Anege. Oh, welcome, sir. Welcome. We have Dr. Aminu Meida, Executive Vice Chairman, Nigerian Communications Commission, Abuja, represented by Chiswa White, Head Legal and Regulatory Service. Welcome. Mr. Alexander Chukura, you are presenting your resident Anti-Corruption Commissioner, Lagos State Office. Welcome, sir. Welcome. We will recognize more persons as we continue. Thank you. And so we'll move ahead as it's time for the welcome remarks. Please let's put our hands together as we welcome our teaching in the welcome place.
Lord, Honorable Chief Justice of Nigeria, the Lord Honorable Justice Kudirat Mutomori Kekere, who until late yesterday evening was hopeful of being with us this morning. She's the chairperson of the Council of the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Media Studies. She was to come back from the UK and attend this conference this morning. And there was an unofficial interaction between her and the citizens of the UK at her back yesterday. We acknowledge her. His Royal Majesty, the Asaga of Asaba Kingdom, who also happened to be the 5th Director General of the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Media Studies. We are highly elated to have you with us this morning. You laid a very solid foundation upon which successive Directors General have been building on. Your being with us this morning will not only add color to this event, but also add a lot of impact to the national discourse that's going to take place this morning. The chairman of this occasion who incidentally is also the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor George Ojo Amupita, whom we're still expecting to join us shortly, is also a former member of council of the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies, and who has taken me for a long time as a very good brother and friend. Professor Amupita SAN is being represented, or is being, there's what they call in political parlance, placeholder. His place is being held for now by our own Professor Abiola Sani, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, who is also the Dean of Law of the Faculty of Law University of Lagos, and also representing so many other people this morning. My Lord, Justices of the High Court of Lagos State, my Lord, the representatives of the President of the National Industrial Court, the President of the Nigerian Association of Law Teachers, we really appreciate your coming from Ibadan this morning. And as we're going to know very soon, that law teachers are the brain behind the establishment of this institute. I insisted that my president must be here this morning for the whole world to know that your baby is doing very well. They're going to have more things to do together. My distinguished professors, the principal member of the management of the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies, the Institute Secretary, the Bursar, the Institute Librarian, professors, and the Institute Director of Research, Director of Studies, our professors, head of various departments, our members of the academic and non-teaching staff, the esteemed senior advocates, team of lawyers from Alhaji Abdullah Ibrahim and Co. law firm. They've been very wonderful friends of this institute. I'm going to tell a story about them in a short while. Members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I acknowledge the chiefs and the entire entourage of His Royal Majesty, the Asaga of Asaba Kingdom. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, a very good morning to you all. It is my honor, on behalf of the Governing Council, management, and staff of the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies, to extend a warm welcome to everyone gathered here for the 2026 Founders Day Lecture of the Institute. The media team can project the speech, and the QR code can also be used to download it, so that you can have copies on your phone. All lectures to be delivered today, including the programs, can be downloaded through the QR code. I would like to express my gratitude for the effort and support of the distinguished guest of honor, the Chief Justice of the Federation and Chairman of our Council, the Lord the Honorable Justice Kudiratu Otomari Olatokunbo Kekirieku, DCON fellow Nayabs, for agreeing to grace this occasion with your esteemed presence until the exigencies of your Lordship's office determined otherwise just yesterday evening. The Lord, for me personally, and for the Institute, your ever readiness to act in the Institute's best interest remains priceless and deeply appreciated. Chairman of today's occasion, Professor George Ojo Amupita, Senior Advocate of Nigeria and Chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, we welcome with very short notice as a long-time friend and mentor, and former member of the Institute Council, and you responded positively with your presence. I'm convinced that beyond the personal and institutional friendship, your acceptance to chair this lecture, despite your very tight schedules, is informed by our shared belief in the possibility of the Nigerian nation. Accountable governance is premised on civic participation and the rule of law, while the test gauge of the two pillars is a credible electoral system, which can also be made or marred by the digital evolution. We are indeed honored by and grateful for your presence at your own cost. Commemorating Founders Day is a time-honored tradition of the Institute as the brainchild of the Nigerian Association of Law Teachers, which was established in 1962. That is the Nigerian Association of Law Teachers established in 1962. The Institute's establishment was mooted in 1966 to address the resource deficit in the very few law faculties then in existence. But implementing the recommendation did not come without problems, including stalled processes related to the Nigerian Civil War. Our founding fathers fought long and hard to achieve the dream with the official opening on the 17th of March 1979. Hence, Founders Day is set aside to honor and recognize the delegates of the 1960s NAFT conference who cultivated the dream, and the likes of George Teslim Elias and Akinola Aguda, who diligently worked towards its fulfillment. We must also remember the contribution of Michael Jegede, Justice Muhammad Bello, Karibi White, Emmett Wise, SMA Belgore, Ayo Ajomo, Richard Akinjide, Prince Bola Ajibola, Professor Zaki Mustafa, Oluwole Odumosu, Alfred Kasumu, and others of their kind, who have also watered the grounds that successful generations continue to work tirelessly to enhance. These pivotal accolades will be incomplete without the mentioning of our successful Directors General, Honorable Dr. T.A. Aguda, Professor M.A. Ajomo, Professor I.A. Ayua, Senior Advocate of Nigeria of blessed memory, Professor D.A. Ubadia, His Royal Majesty. And again, I emphasize His Royal Majesty, the Asaga of Asaba Kingdom, Professor Epiphany Asimi, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Professor A.O. Adekunle, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, and Professor M.T. Ladan, who, like our original founding fathers, have passed the beaming torch of the quest for evidence-based knowledge that makes a difference. Apart from making this historic event, we have come to associate Founders Day with a time for introspection. As we reflect on our journey thus far as an institute, we can confidently assert that our founding fathers, for numerous reasons, have every right to take pride in what their dream has evolved into today. The Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies is the apex institute for legal research and advanced legal studies in Nigeria, comprising the finest law teachers and researchers worldwide. We serve as independent institutional advisor to the government across all arms and tiers on legal policy and law reform. The Institute has been and continues to be engaged in some of the most significant social legal research on contemporary subjects of national and global importance. Fairly established itself as a think tank for policy formulation in law and related disciplines. It serves as a world-class center of excellence for training legislative draftsmen and boasts the most distinguished assembly of fellows of any legal research institute worldwide. Furthermore, it continues to foster an enabling environment for budding scholars through its general and bespoke continuing legal education courses and its postgraduate programs. My first encounter with NIAS is a living testament to this bold assertion. On the eve of introducing the Islamic financial system in Nigeria in 2011, there was a heated national debate on whether it was an Islamization agenda, and a lot of misconceptions and misinformation were spreading around. NIAS, under the leadership of His Royal Majesty, the Asaga of Asaba Kingdom, convened a one-day workshop, and I was invited as an expert in the field. My presentation that day, it is being projected. If you click on that link to take you to the paper, that paper is linked. You want to read the full paper that was published by LexisNexis in Malaysia in 2012. So that presentation on the day, on this same podium, saved the day. And the Nigerian public became better informed. Today, the Islamic financial system has had a significant impact on financial inclusion, economic growth, and national development in Nigeria. And NIAS has been a veritable platform for its actualization. Over the past years, the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies has continued to excel in its mandate, achieving significant milestones that underscores its commitment to excellence. Through strategic collaboration and partnership, we have provided support to various government entities and private organizations on law and allied matters. We would like to thank the MDAs, such as the Nigerian Communication Commission, the MASA, and Plateau State Ministry of Justice for their continued engagement with the Institute. We are also grateful to our non-governmental strategic partners, including ECOWAS, the Makoto Foundation, UNICEF, UNODC, the International Law Association, and the Nelson Mandela School at the University of Cape Town. As Nigeria's apex institution for legal research, we have conducted impactful research in areas such as criminal justice administration, money laundering law reforms, environmental justice, and consumer rights protection. For instance, our recently concluded Makoto-funded project supporting the understanding and compliance with the Administration of Criminal Justice Act and Aviation of Criminal Justice Law was instrumental in advancing improved implementation of criminal justice reform across several states of the Federation. Under this project, at least 15 policy bulletins on criminal justice reforms and 6 case digests were published. Technical support was also provided for drafting 23 rules of court and practice direction as part of the project's output and deliverables. Our side findings for this project and others have been disseminated through various publications, including books, monographs, and policy bulletins, contributing to the development of policy and law. The Institute has also contributed to capacity building for the bar and the bench by delivering continuing legal education courses, specialized legal education courses, and donor-funded capacity building events. In 2025 alone, the Institute trained 972 participants across 31 capacity building and training events, comprising 14 general courses, 9 specialized courses, and 8 donor-funded programs. This number does not include participants at free public events, such as lectures, policy, roundtables, and hybrid sermons, held to enhance public awareness and understanding of diverse subject areas. These achievements and many others demonstrate our unwavering commitment to advancing legal education, promoting good governance, and contributing to Nigeria's economic development. As we commemorate our Founders Day, we reflect on these successes and reaffirm our dedication to excellence in all we do. Our successes have not come without challenges. The current economic inflationary trend, high attrition rate connected to the prevalent JAPA syndromes, as well as our squatter status in our Abuja office, all these invariably affect staff morale and translate to suboptimal productivity. However, our successes outshine our struggles as we seek new and more effective ways to overcome them. To my esteemed NIAS family, we will recall that I became the head of this family at a time when the workforce morale was very low. While we have remained squatters in Abuja, the Lagos office has been grieving abandonment. I promise you an improved welfare and a sense of belonging. You are the judge of the fulfillment of the welfare promise. Yet, holding this lecture in Lagos this year is another promise fulfilled. And I can feel, thank you, and I can feel the vibe of rejuvenation this brought about by your preparation for this lecture. At this point, let me share some good news with you. The Nayas duplex property at Dolphin Estate, which we have almost lost in legal battle that has taken over 16 years, has been recovered by a team of our committed staff, led by the Director of Research, Professor Manuel Okon, the law firm of Alhaji Ibrahim Abdullahi and Co., led by Mr. Adetunji Oyeiko of SAN. Please, can we have the chief of the law firm and stand up for recognition? All members of the firm, please stand up for recognition. They have been on that for the past 16 years. And the team of the EFCC. The handing over ceremony is scheduled for tomorrow. The law firm's justice-driven style of practice is highly appreciated. This law firm has done all this in the last 16 years without taking a coup from us. Wow. They are not doing it gratuitously. They will be paid, but they are justice-driven. That justice must be done before we can continue to talk about it. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much. We are bolstered by the unwavering support of our supervising minister, Attorney General of the Federation, and Honorable Minister of Justice, learned Honorable Attorney General. While we express our profound gratitude for the support you have continued to provide, we appeal for the further push to release the funds we facilitated for the purchase of a temporary office building and for presidential intervention to complete the institute's headquarters in Abuja. We also use this opportunity to thank the management of the Supreme Court, our landlord in Abuja, for decades. You have been a wonderful host to us, and we are very much grateful. Our commitment to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration legal reform agenda drives us to work diligently, not only in support of government programs and activities, but also within our broader mandate to ensure access to justice and the rule of law. Above all, we take pride in being patriotic Nigerians, confident in our intellectual capability to serve as catalysts for change and agents in advancing the frontiers of law for the growth and development of our nation. I would like to extend our warm welcome to our esteemed Founders Day lecturer, Professor Theodore Bala Meyaki, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. I acknowledge you, sir, and thank him profoundly for graciously accepting our invitation to deliver the lecture. Without anticipating the citation that will be presented shortly, I can affirm, based on our previous academic intersection, that our guest lecturer is an insightful and committed scholar who is delivering on a subject that is both timely and significant to the advancement of our nation. Considering his impressive background, I firmly believe that we could not have chosen a more distinguished scholar to deliver the lecture. The platform, thank you. The platform has been made available for him to address the topic, civic participation, rule of law, and accountable governance in the digital era. The theme is particularly significant as it highlights the intersection of technology, governance, and civic engagement. In today's digital age, NIAS recognizes the ever-growing significance of technology and technological tools across various spaces, including civic participation in governance. The Institute's mandate to promote public enlightenment and improve knowledge is crucial in this regard, empowering citizens to engage meaningfully in the democratic process. Through this lecture, we aim to contribute to the national discourse on the role of digital technologies in promoting good governance, while protecting human rights and ensuring the rule of law. We believe that by working together, we can build a more just, equitable, and prosperous society. As we navigate the complexity of the digital era, NIAS remains committed to promoting knowledge, transparency, and accountability, and we look forward to the insights to be shared today. I'm optimistic that long after the lecture has concluded, its lessons will continue to resonate in learned and discerning minds and shape the course of our democratic process and national development. I sincerely appreciate the entire NIAS family, especially the organizing committee of this lecture, for the unalloyed cooperation I've enjoyed since my appointment as Director General. So on that note, I will extend with great pleasure a warm welcome to each and every of you at the 2026 Founders Day Lecture of the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies. I have to also acknowledge especially our former Director General, the senior advocate who is in our attendance. We thank you for being with us. As always, we remain ever passionate and ever prudent in our quest to provide knowledge that makes a difference. I thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much for teaching. I know that people from Abdullahi Ibrahim and Paul have been called and let me recognize you again. We truly appreciate what you've done. Mr. Aweliko SAM, it's been a long time. We haven't seen you in a long while. Welcome. Mr. Abiodun and Latunji SAM, welcome. Thank you. Mr. Olushaki, thank you for coming. Let me also welcome Honorable Justice Jumoke Petru, High Court of Justice, Lagos. Oh, it's you, okay, thank you. All right away, we invite, I don't know what you call him, but as far as I'm concerned, for now he's the chairman. And so, Professor Abiola Sone, welcome for the chairman of the universe.
Thank you very much, my sister and my friend, Professor Olewu. You've done extremely well. I think we should give her another round. I'm sure when we were all in school, at some stage of our academic journey, we must have written an article or an essay titled The Red Letter Day, or the day everything went wrong. But today, my experience is the opposite. It's looking like the day that everything is going to go well. So I was mandamused by the Vice Chancellor to represent her. And also I got a call from Professor Bilali to also represent him. Then when getting here, the icing on the cake really was seeing live and direct the Asaba of Asaba, the 14th Asaba of Asaba, in this royal regalia. I very involuntarily went down on my knees because where I come from, you do not greet a king standing. Thank you. It's such an honor to take a personal picture with him, and I'm proud to say that the Asaba of Asaba, His Royal Majesty, is a proud and illustrious alumnus of the incomparable faculty of the University of Lagos. We are extremely proud of him. Welcome back home, sir. And like I said, when I met you, when I say home, I'm not talking about the institute. I'm talking about Faculty of Law, where it all started. representing Professor Joash Amupito is a particularly challenging one. The DG had used the word placeholder, which is apt or very appropriate, but I would rather use the word interim. And we all know, we all can relate to interim government. Because he is on his way. Oh. All right. So Professor Amupito is going to be here any moment from now. I can envisage the kind of questions that people will ask him. You know, and I can also anticipate how he will respond if he has the opportunity. People who want to know about the amendment of the Electoral Act. But it's also going to tell the people that it's not the lawmaker. His role is to implement the law. And I tell my students, the responsibility of making good law rests squarely on the organ of government constitutionally endowed with that power, the legislature. The legislature is the organ of government that is constitutionally empowered primarily to make laws. So when other people, especially executive, may make laws, judges do make laws, in jurisdictions like United States, in fact, the role of judges in lawmaking is more pronounced. But within our jurisprudence, it is the role of the legislator to make laws. So if your laws are not working, who do you hold responsible? You hold the legislators responsible. Law, God is not going to come and change any law, and prayer will not. Without speaking for Professor Amupito, the question I will pose is, if there is no electronic voting, can we have electronic transmission? In this university, we do electronic voting. Even when I contested for deanship about 5 years ago, we did, and we saw results live. But until we do or we migrate to full electronic voting, and people can vote from the convenience of their homes. You don't have to declare a public holiday, you don't have to queue. And the primary document will be the electronic evidence generated after the voting, not any from EC8A. I think the journey or the argument about simultaneous or instantaneous transmission of votes will be in the right. Remember, I've not spoken for Professor. I've only said a few. So now, I will now try and crave the indulgence of Your Royal Majesty to let me say a few words on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, who is the landlord of the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies. You know, there is nothing the Advanced Legal Studies can do about these premises without the consent of yes, including digging a borehole. You must get the permit of works. So, on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, I welcome everyone. And let me quickly recognize the former Director General, Mayebon Eji Adekule, my Lord Justice Peters, my Lord Justice Pedro and Oshobi, and my lady, and the President of our association, National Association of Teachers, Professor John Akintayo, you are welcome. I welcome the senior councils here present, the senior advocates of Nigeria, distinguished practitioners, and all the representatives of the entourage of His Imperial Majesty. You are welcome. I want to congratulate the DG for his intentional, definite, and innovative approach to maximizing its infrastructures. I mean, as a policy, when he became the DG, he said, this place is not going to lie waste. It's going to also operate from Lagos and as much as Abuja. And I think that makes sense. If you have the privilege of clapping with two hands, will you rather clap with one? And his resumption as DG coincided with the time when I became the Dean of the Faculty of Law. And I also had this vision of having a productive linkage or collaboration with the Institute of Advanced Legal Studies. And I did that with a sense of history. NIAS is a product of the first faculties of law in Nigeria. It's the baby of the Faculty of Law, with Nigerian Association of Law Teachers playing a leading role. And the deans of our faculty, starting with Elias, were the arrowhead of that initiative. And they did their bit, they did their best, including integrating the institute with the faculty, just the way we have in London when you go to the Institute of Advanced Legal Studies. In fact, there is a door that linked the two. So my prayer and my vision is that one day that door will come down, and then there will be, because it's like Berlin Wall. It's like Berlin Wall. The door will come down, and there will be right of egress and egress from and within the faculty. So the DG visited the Vice Chancellor, and I was privileged to be part of that visitation. And they discussed a very meaningful one. And at the moment, I'm aware, I'm not speaking as the DC, I'm aware that there is a committee that is about to be inaugurated for the integrated development of the two facilities. For us as a faculty, in about 2 years' time, we are going to move to a new building that is going to be down the road, about 8 or 12-story new building, down the road. So, but we are going to optimize what we have now together with what the Institute has, so that we can revisit the golden era where the Institute was the hub of intellectual research, not only in Nigeria, but across the West Africa. So the committee, I understand, is going to revamp the library, digitalize the library, revamp the lecture theaters. This lecture theater that is in honor of Professor Ajon, the former dean, and also the library in honor of the second dean. We be totally revitalized, that when you come back, you will not know that you are in the same place. So these are the things that the DG is doing or is planning to do with the leadership of the chairperson of the Governing Council. So without taking too much time, so the DG, I congratulate you and your team, because you are a team player. And it takes a team to build something that will last. So the guest lecturer will welcome you, my learned brother, sir. We look forward to very exciting lecture. I was privileged to be the guest lecturer of the 2025 Founders Guest Lecture. And that was at a time when the tax bills were the hot potato. Hello. Can we, some people guided by integrity will never fail. You are welcome, Prof. I think we should just bring Prof. Yeah, the right way. By the power conferred on me, I think we should just.
Welcome.
Prof, you are welcome. So, Prof, you are welcome once again. You will see that I've been guided by the Spirit. As a matter of fact, the soap that I used this morning, I'm going to be using, I won't use it too frequently so that I can handle the load. But I'm going to patent it and then share it. So in closing, let me remind you that you are in University of Lagos, the University of First Choice and the nation's pride, the only university with a lagoon, the only university accessible by land, by air, and by water, and by the grace of God very soon, by rain. So you will just be in Yaba and then. So I want you to walk around, try and see the lagoon, but don't go too close. Enjoy and savor our neat environment. No university can match University of Lagos in terms of cleanliness. It is a culture. And try and also journey in our eco-friendly buses. Only in the University of Lagos. Seeing is believing. So I hope this will not be the last time. It will be a one-off visitation. So we welcome you to other events of the university, our research fair, our public lectures, our inaugural lectures, our webinars, our faculty lectures, even activities of our student mood and more presentation and all that. All these and more you'll see on our website. So once again, welcome. Thank you very much.
Prophet Sunday, you can't wait to disappear. He has done his job as John the Baptist. Put your hands together for him. Thank you so much, bro. Thank you. Let me also recognize Ms. Ekaya Manuela, representing the Executive Secretary of the National Human Rights Commission, Dr. Tony Ojukwu. Welcome. Thank you. The chairman, let me introduce you again. The chairman is a distinguished academic, eminent legal practitioner, and thoroughbred administrator. He has extensive expertise in the law of evidence, corporate governance, privatization, company law, and reforms in Nigeria's electoral jurisprudence. His journey through the legal profession was marked with consistent academic excellence, and as a proud alumnus of the University of of Jos. He was promoted to the rank of Professor of Law in 2008 and also elevated to the rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria in 2014. He held administrative positions in the university up to the position of the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration and now combines a formidable background in law, governance, and institutional administration to carry the mandate for upholding the integrity and credibility of Nigeria's elections. Ladies and gentlemen, let's again with a good round of applause welcome the chairman of today's occasion, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor George Ojo Nwobita, SAN. The chairman, I think that's your opening remarks. Your line, please. Yeah, yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me start by apologizing profoundly.
It's okay.
Because when the invitation came, it's coming from a source you cannot reject. Having served on the Council of NIAS for 6 years, under the able leadership of our royal father, the Ashaka of Asaba, our own dear Professor Epifani Azingi, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. We worked together for 6 years, so it was difficult to say no to an invitation from the house. We actually have a function with our development partners ongoing. So my plan was to open it, and then latest I was communicating with one of the staff. Latest by 11:15 I will be here. But I didn't know. I thought I was in Abuja, so I have to apologize. I apologize profoundly, especially having to keep our royal father. It don't happen again because we know what logistics means. Just before I start, I had somebody talking about the University of Lagos at the University. Let me also say that the University of Jos is the only university of in Nigeria, and it will give you winter experience. So we all have our own peculiarities. And that is what we should take pride in. Okay, let me start by acknowledging your Royal Majesty, the Ashaka of Asaba, person of Professor Epifani Azingi, who has taken the pain and the time to be here today, all the way from Asaba. The former Director General of NIAS. I just told you I had the privilege of serving when he was DG. I was there for 6 years, perhaps one of the longest serving member of council there. Below the Honorable Chief Judge of Lagos State, ably represented by Honorable Justice Modupe Nicole, the Director General of the Institute, Professor Abdulkadir Ibrahim Abika. Let me also quickly acknowledge my learned brother Silk, Professor Abiola Sani, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, who is also standing in for the Vice Chancellor of the great University of Lagos. I also have seen my brother, learned brother Silk, Professor Adekunle, who while he was DG, we worked very closely to reform the laws of the Federation. The laws that are present here, my learned brother Silks that are here, I also want to recognize the very distinguished team that came with His Royal Majesty. I have here with me one of my national commissioners at the polling house of the program, the person of Professor Sani Adams, who is a senior advocate of Nigeria. He is the National Commissioner representing the North Central. And I also have here with me my Chief of Staff, Mr. Akinfa Baby, Mr. Barrister Mustafa Dogondaji, who is my PA, is also here. I want to also recognize the guest lecturer. He attended university, so you went to a good school. On a lighter note, I recalled I was chairing an accreditation team to one of the universities, and then I saw the list of lecturers. I was seeing the dean attended I think one of the universities, another one ABU, and I acknowledged them. I didn't know whether Professor Adekule was there. You were there, sir. And I said, you people didn't go to a good school. But I saw somebody who went to university. I said, you went to a good school. So that is just a light on it. The very distinguished directors and fellows of the Institute, distinguished members of the bar, esteemed scholars and academics, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is both a privilege and a profound honor to serve as the chairman of this auspicious occasion, the 2026 Founders Day Lecture of the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies. Together we gather the date on the institutional calendar and, more importantly, to celebrate a legacy, one that has profoundly shaped the trajectory of legal scholarship, research, and policy development in Nigeria. The Founders Day of this great institute is in every sense a moment of intellectual reflection and institutional renewal. It is an opportunity to honor the foresight and the vision of those who in 1979 established an institution that has since become the apex center for advanced legal studies in Nigeria. The establishment of the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies was both timely and visionary. At a period when the Nigerian legal system was evolving within a complex socio-political environment, there was a clear need for an institution dedicated to rigorous legal research, high-level capacity building, and the generation of knowledge to support governance and the administration of justice. The Founders Day, or the founders, responded to that need with a clarity of purpose and enduring commitment. Over the years, the Institute has justified its creation. It has distinguished itself as a citadel of legal excellence, producing cutting-edge research, convening policy dialogues, and training generations of legal practitioners, judicial officers, academics, and public officials. His contribution to law reform, legislative development, and judicial reasoning have left an indelible mark on Nigerian legal and governance architecture. Indeed, it's not an exaggeration to say that the Institute occupies a central and strategic position in Nigeria's legal ecosystem. It serves as a bridge between the theory and practice, between scholarship and policy, and between national priorities and global best practices. In an area where legal systems must constantly respond to emerging challenges, the relevance of such an institution cannot be overstated. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the significance of Founders Day lies in celebrating past achievement as well as interrogating the present realities and charting future directions. It is a moment of introspection. Are we living up to the ideals of the founders? Are we leveraging the full potentials of legal scholarship to address the pressing challenges of our time? And how can institutions like these continue to lead in shaping a just, equitable, and progressive society? These questions find resonance in the theme of this year's lecture: civic participation, rule of law, and accountable governance in a digitized era. No doubt, this theme is both contemporary and consequential. Distinguished guests, we live in a time when digital technology is fundamentally transforming the nature of governance and civil engagement. From social media platforms that amplify citizens' voices to digital tools that enhance transparency and public accountability, the opportunities for participatory governance have expanded significantly. Citizens are no longer passive observers, they are active participants in shaping public discourse and influencing decision-making processes. However, these opportunities are not without challenges. The digitized environment has also given rise to complex legal and ethical concerns, ranging from misinformation and digital manipulation to data protection, cyber security, and regulation of artificial intelligence. These developments test the resilience of the rule of law and demand adaptive, forward-looking legal framework. The intersection of civil participation, rule of law, and digital governance therefore presents both promise and peril. It challenges us to rethink traditional legal doctrines, to strengthen institutional accountability, and to ensure that technological advancement does not outpace legal regulations or undermine fundamental rights. In this regard, the role of the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies becomes even more critical. As a leading center of legal thought, the Institute is uniquely positioned to interrogate these emerging issues, generate policy relevance, and guide the development of legal frameworks that are responsive to the demand of a digitized society. From an electoral perspective, the Independent National Electoral Commission is leveraging on technology to promote participation in the electoral process. The introduction of technology into our process has significantly enhanced interest, transparency, and efficiency. Yet it also demands continuous vigilance, robust legal framework, and public trust to sustain its gains. It is therefore imperative that legal scholars, policymakers, technologists, and civil society actors work collaboratively to strengthen the institutional framework that promotes responsible digital engagement while safeguarding democratic values. I am not the guest lecturer, so let me just conclude. But I've decided to say this so as to water your appetite and also to challenge my brothers to do justice. So let me skip a lot of things. As we listen to the lecture and engage in subsequent discussion, let us be mindful of the responsibility that rests upon us as scholars, practitioners, policymakers, and citizens to uphold the rule of law, to promote accountability, and to actively participate in the governance process. Let us also reaffirm our commitment to the ideals upon which this institute was founded, which are excellence in scholarship, integrity in service, and dedication to national development. Nigeria is a country that is just in a haste, and at the peak, there's what we call thesis. We're all familiar with it. What we also call antithesis and the synthesis. So Nigeria is at the stage of synthesis that needed some drive to be able to get to where we are supposed to be. Just a little to get there. Unfortunately, there are so many factors that are holding us down. And the institute is a research institute that is meant to research into the problem of the nation and find solutions. So as an institute, we must continue to engage with our problems. So the institute must do everything to ensure that we are able to address some of those things that have held down this nation and find solutions to them. In conclusion, Founders Day is not only a celebration of the past, but a call to action. It challenges us to sustain and advance the legacy we have inherited. It reminds us that institutions endure by their continual relevance and impact, not just by their history. On this note, it is my singular honor and privilege to formally declare the 2026 Founders Day Lecture of Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies open. We are particularly fortunate to have our guest lecturer, Professor Theodore Bala Bayaki, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, a distinguished scholar, accomplished legal practitioner, and respected thought leader. His depth of experience and intellectual insight make him highly qualified to speak on this important theme. I have no doubt that this lecture will provoke thoughts, stimulate robust discussions, and contribute meaningfully to ongoing conversation about governance, law, civic engagement in Nigeria and beyond. Thank you for your kind attention, and may God bless NIAS. God bless our dear Director General, and all my lords that are here. God bless our dear Royal Father, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Please, let's clap again for the chairman. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you for coming. Now we'll listen to a royal remark. In fact, this entrance showcased a lot. You could know that something was happening here today. It sounded it, the trumpeters. It was so loud, it was so warm, it was so nice. Let us welcome His Royal Majesty, Professor Epiphany Azinge, SAN, for his remark. Please put your hands together.
Thank you very much. The chairman of the occasion, Professor Joash Ojoa Peter, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, the DG of NIAS, Lords in attendance, learned Senior Advocates of Nigeria, Chairman of the occasion, I've mentioned you, our landlord. The sixth Director General in attendance, Professor D.J. Adekunle, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Our dear invited guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am no longer used to speaking to public. Tradition has confined me. have decided to waive protocols in two regards. One, by coming up to speak, because even if I have to say anything, I must sit down to do so. And this is the only place I believe I can do that, to waive protocol. Let me appreciate the Director General for sustaining this tradition, age-long tradition of marking the Founders' Day with pomp and pageantry. I believe the lecture lined up will speak to not just the people in this hall, but everyone, especially those far beyond, because it will resonate and certainly will reverberate, and to a very large extent is in tandem with the contemporary realities of our moment. I want to also congratulate the Institute for turning 47. 47 is a lifetime of its own. But beyond the lecture, beyond the celebration, like many others have rightly posited, it is a period of stock-taking, introspection. So many questions waiting to be addressed. Fidelity to our mandate comes to mind. Secondly, how well have we been able to breathe life and vitality to the visions of our founding fathers? More significantly is for us to truly, in our mind, examine and analyze the evolutionary and transformative trajectory as far as growth and development of the Institute is. But more importantly, I believe, to a very large extent, captured in the speech of Mr. DG, to highlight the challenges. I've been able to discuss some with the Director General when I came in, and I believe that from his answers, the future is bright, and we're looking forward to it. I want to pay public tribute to the founding fathers. We've mentioned so many of them. In doing so, we draw a lot of strength and inspiration from their lives and what shaped their thoughts and their minds to come up with a vision that set up this institute. And I believe we've mentioned some of the names, apart from the succession successive Chief Justices of Nigeria that have chaired the Council of the Institute. We must always remember to pay public tribute to the Eliases of this world, the Karibi wives, the Jegedes, the Akinolagudas, the Ignatius Ayuba, the Meze Gubadians, and all the other successive Director Generals leading up to our chief host today. Cannot also forget the council members who also directed and guided the paths of the Institute whilst they served. Is it important for us to push the frontiers of our mandate. Yes, it is very important. And why do I say so? I recall vividly. Immediately I came on board, 2009, 2010. We were invited to appear before the Oronside panel. Yes, we were invited. And it was a two-way traffic. Either we succeed and the institute remains, or we fail and that will be the end of the institute. Possibly merged, possibly eclipsed, like the case may be. And it was a serious battle. We appeared before the panel. Know that my immediate successor, Professor Deji Adekunle, will recall, Professor Bolaji Owoswene, and many others. We were all there. It was a battle, struggling to defend the mandate of the institute and the reason why the institute should be allowed to continue to exist. At the end of the day, nobody could give any result. Would we succeed or not? Until the other science panel report was out. Lo and behold, we succeeded. Why have I taken the pains to say this? Let us not take anything for granted. Your work speaks for you. How you're able to discharge your mandate is very critical and fundamental. Capacity to reason out of the box and do things, whether tangentially related to your mandate or not, is very also critical. And the issues that you interrogate, how helpful they are to the society and to the community and to the country, is also important, because that will bring you to the table of those who matter, the presidents, the governors, and so on and so forth, of course, the ministers of justice, among so many others. So once more, I want to congratulate the Institute, and particularly the DG, for making this day possible. I've checked, I don't think we have missed any in the number of years. Please, we must sustain that. Lastly, for me to leave you with what inspired me. I hate to be personal, but I needed to do this. What inspired me when confronted with the idea of composing the anthem for the Institute in 2011. I weighed everything about the mandate of the Institute and the vision of our founding fathers. Hence, what we have today, ever probing, ever questioning, Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies. Vision foretold by founding fathers, ideas nurtured by patriotic fervor, urging us to the difference and be the nucleus of legal studies with passion and hope. Our mandate deliver to be the best that we can be, a truly world-class institution, Nigeria's. So we must be faithful to the vision of the founding fathers. Try to make a difference and strive be truly world-class institution. If we are able to achieve all this, we would have been able to live the dreams of the founding fathers. Happy Founders Day, and may their vision
together again. Thank you so much. We ask of Asaga. Beautiful words of wisdom. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We have heard it. Thank you. Well, next is the lecture. The lecture that has brought us all together. You still remember the title? Civic Participation, Rule of Law, and Accountable Governance in a Digital Era. And before we listen to the lecture, we will know more about the guest lecturer. And right away, I invite my colleague, Mrs. Kemi Omojola, to read the citation of the guest lecturer. Put your hands together for Kemi.
Thank you very much, Prof. The chairman of this occasion, Professor Joash Amokito, His Royal Majesty, the Asagba of Asaba, Professor Epiphany Asige, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, the Director General of the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies, Professor Ibrahim Abiko. I'd also like to recognize all the members on this side of the podium, Chairman, distinguished guests, honorable members of the bench and bar, esteemed scholars, ladies and gentlemen. I would also like to invite at this junction Professor Miyaki, SAN, to stand when I read his citation. Respectfully, sir. Thank you, sir. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Our NILE's Founders Day lecturer, Professor Theodore Bala Meyaki, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, is a distinguished figure in Nigeria's legal, academic, and legislative landscape. A man whose brilliance, like the hills of Kuru, where he comes from, stands visible and undeniable. A scholar of profound depth, an advocate of exceptional excellence, and a statesman whose influence continues to shape institutions and lives. Born on October 28 in Kuru, Jos, a land of hills, cactus, and quiet significance, home to the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies. Professor Meyaki, like his birthplace, stands as a figure of strategic importance in the life of our nation today. His academic journey began at his prestigious government science school, Kuru, where discipline and intellectual curiosity was sharpened. He then attended Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, earning his diploma in law and subsequently his Bachelor of Laws degree, thereby laying the foundation for a career rooted in excellence. Called to the Nigerian bar in 1993, he further pursued his studies with a Master's of Law from the University of Jos in 1996. Driven by a steadfast commitment to scholarship, he achieved the highest academic honor, a PhD in International Economic Law from the University of Jos in 2012. An alumnus of Harvard University, his intellectual scope extends beyond borders, positioning him within the global community of legal scholars. Professor Meyaki's professional journey is a masterclass in versatility and excellence. He began his career at Imani Mortgage Finance, where he rose from legal officer to company secretary and legal advisor between 1993 and 1998, heralding early signs of leadership and brilliance. He later served as Executive Director, Corporate Affairs at Duncan Maritime Ventures Limited from 1998 to 2000 before returning to full legal practice. With over 3 decades of legal experience, he has distinguished himself as a seasoned practitioner, earning elevation to the prestigious rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria in 2022. In academia, he has made enduring contributions as a professor of international economic law at the University of Abuja, where he has taught civil litigation for several years and as head of the Department of Jurisprudence and International Law, shaping minds, influencing legal thought, and mentoring the next generation of legal practitioners. Professor Meyaki has made significant contributions to legal literature. His books, Modern Practice of Civil Litigation in Nigeria, a handbook on mortgage law and banking in Nigeria, and a handbook on the ECOWAS Treaty and financial institutions continue to serve as authoritative texts for scholars and practitioners alike. Professor Meyaki is a principal partner of KWO Chambers Abuja, where his practice continues to reflect depth, precision, and integrity. Beyond the courtroom and lecture hall, Professor Meyaki has demonstrated an unwavering commitment to public service. He served as Special Assistant Legal to the Executive Governor of Plateau State between 2002 and 2007, where he provided strategic legal guidance and governance. Currently, he serves as an honorable member of the Plateau State House of Assembly, representing the people of Kwampan South State Constituency, and as chairman of the House Committee on Education, Science, and Technology. Thank you very much. His commitment to human development is further demonstrated through scholarship initiatives and community empowerment programs, including the disbursement of educational support to over 120 students under the New Dimension mantra. He has initiated and driven transformative policies and constituency projects that have touched lives across education, youth empowerment, infrastructure, agriculture, and social welfare. In his own words, and I quote, "I am committed to driving positive change through responsive and people-centered legislation. Together, we will build a safer, stronger, and more sustainable Plateau State," encapsulating succinctly his mission as a lawmaker. Little wonder that in 2025, he sponsored the following bills as a testament to his people-centered lawmaking. A bill for a law to regulate arrangement for surrogacy in Plateau State and other related matters, Plateau State Community Early Warning System Bill, Arbitration of Investment and Commercial Disputes Bill, and Prohibition of Single-Use Plastics Bill. A distinguished member of the professional community, he is affiliated with several prestigious bodies, including the Nigerian Bar Association, the International Bar Association, and the Association of Nigerian Law Teachers. He is a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, United Kingdom, and the Chartered Institute of Mediators and Conciliators. He is also a member of the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers of Nigeria, the Institute of Directors, the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators. He served as Secretary General of the Northern Railway Forum and is a member of Amnesty International. He is also a regular commentator and policy analyst on national and international affairs. His influence extends into corporate governance, serving as chairman and director on the boards of several organizations, where he provides strategic leadership and policy direction. Professor Meyaki sits on the boards of TZPay Limited as chairman and serves as director of Duncan Maritime Ventures Limited, WCG Consultancy Limited, the Colloquium Consults and Investments Limited, and KWO Properties and Investments Limited. He is a trustee of the Meyaki Foundation and a trustee of the Gamma Literacy and Bible Translation Trust. Beyond professional accomplishments, he remains deeply committed to humanitarian service as a trustee and a lifelong Rotarian, touching lives and building communities. Every aspect of the life of Professor Theodore Bala Meyaki, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, is graciously blessed. His family life testifies to this. He is married to his lovely and supportive wife, Patricia, and they are blessed with children. When Prof is not reading and writing or engaged in other duties, he loves to play golf at the IBB International Golf and Country Club. Repetition, they say, makes for emphasis. So I say again, a city set upon a hill cannot be hidden. And so it is with Professor Theodore Bala Meyaki, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. His light shines through scholarship, advocacy, lawmaking, and service to humanity. Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with a resounding Niall's applause, please welcome the guest lecturer of the 2026 Founders Day Lecture, a Nigerian of great character and value, a towering figure of the law, a distinguished lawmaker, and a nation builder par excellence, Professor Theodore Bala Meyaki, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. You're welcome, sir.
Well, let me start by thanking the lady that took my citation for very kind words and ushering me to this very important assignment on the Founders Day of the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies. Before I take the lecture, permit me first and foremost to recognize the presence of the chairman of this event, my lecturer, my boss, my mentor, my driving belt, no less a personality than Professor George Ojo Amopitan, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, who also doubles as the chairman of the Nigerian Independent Electoral Commission. Thank you for coming. We sincerely appreciate you and the good work that you do for our country. So, thank you. Permit me to recognize in a very special way the presence of His Royal Majesty, the Ashaka of Asaba, the elegant, colorful, esoteric, and cerebral Professor Epiphany Zungi, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, OON. Thank you for making our time to share on this very important occasion, and may the Almighty God continue to bless you with good health and long life, Your Majesty. May I, in absentia, also recognize the presence of my Lord, the Honorable, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Honorable Justice Kudirat Kekereekun, GCON, who I'm sure would have loved to have been here on this very auspicious occasion. Permit me, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, not to forget the chief host, at whose behest we all gathered this morning, the Director General of the National Institute for International Advanced Legal Studies, my dear Professor Abdulkader Ibrahim Abikon, who I would use the kind words of His Royal Majesty, has ensured that this very important culture of the Founders Day lecture is sustained and, of course, being celebrated today. Thank you for convening us by teaching. Permit me, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to also recognize the presence of the former Director General of NIALS, our own dear Professor Adedeji Adekunle, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, who has made time to grace today's occasion. May I also, in a very respectful way, acknowledge the presence of the President of NALD, my primary constituency, for making our time to join this event. My former HOD and Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Sani Adams, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, who is on the chairman's entourage today. I can't finish this without specially recognizing you and acknowledging you at today's occasion. My lords, thank you for gracing the occasion. May I also in a special way recognize my learned brothers of the Silk for making it at this afternoon's occasion, and distinguished scholars, ladies and gentlemen. It is both a privilege and a profound honor to stand before you today to deliver this year's Founders Day lecture of NIALS on a subject that lies at the very heart of our democratic development, institutional integrity, and national transformation, that being civic participation, the rule of law, and accountable governance in a digital era. Typically, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the hosting of a Founders Day lecture is not merely a ceremonial event. It is a moment of reflection. It invites us to revisit the vision, the ideals, and the enduring values upon which this great institution was conceived and built by the founding fathers. This lecture challenges us to examine how those values, excellence, integrity, responsibility, and service remain relevant in a rapidly changing world. Today, that world is increasingly defined not only by political and economic shifts, but by an unprecedented digital revolution that is transforming how we live, how we learn, how we communicate, how we govern, and even think. The rise of digital technology and its unprecedented penetration in our daily lives has fundamentally reshaped societies across continents. The internet has collapsed geographical barriers. Social media platforms have altered the architecture of public discourse. Artificial intelligence is redefining decision-making processes. Blockchain technology is challenging traditional financial and governance systems, and digital public service platforms are transforming state-citizen interactions. Governance is no longer confined to physical offices and paper files. It now operates through servers, algorithms, data centers, and mobile applications. Now, the digital era has introduced a new civic landscape. Citizens no longer engage only through town hall meetings or through ballot boxes. They engage through tweets, hashtags, digital petitions, online campaigns, and virtual communities. Information travels at the speed of light. Public opinion is formed in seconds. Governments communicate through dashboards, tweets, and live streams. Policies are debated in comment sections and on online platforms. Yet, while all these technological advancements offer enormous opportunities for deepening our democratic experiences and the attendant benefits, greater transparency, faster communication, and broader participation, they also present very serious risks. The same tools that enable participation can, of course, spread misinformation. The same platforms that enhance accountability can be used for surveillance and manipulation. The same technologies that promise efficiency can concentrate power in opaque systems beyond public scrutiny. Thus, this realm of a new digital era confronts us with a paradox. It can either strengthen democracy or weaken it. It can either empower citizens or control them. It can either reinforce the rule of law or undermine it. At the center of this transformation are therefore three foundational pillars of any democratic society: civic participation, the rule of law, and, of course, accountable governance. These three pillars are not abstract concepts reserved for textbooks. They are the living architecture of freedom, justice, and development. Without active citizen engagement, governance becomes detached from the people. Without the supremacy of the law, power becomes arbitrary. Without accountability, authority degenerates into impunity. Today's lecture, therefore, seeks to examine how these three pillars are being reshaped, how they are challenged and redefined by the forces of digitalization. It invites us to reflect critically on the responsibilities of government, institutions, and citizens in the digital era to ensure that technology serves democratic values and good governance rather than erode them. As members of an academic community, as scholars, administrators, and especially students of power politics, we stand at the forefront of this transformation. We're not merely observers of the digital age, we are its architects and inheritors. The question before us today is not whether digitalization will influence governance. It already does. The real question, therefore, is whether we will guide this transformation with wisdom, ethical responsibility, and unwavering commitment to democratic principles to gain us the legacies we desire for ourselves and generations to come. It is within this context that we begin our exploration of the principles of civic participation, the rule of law, and accountable governance in a digital era. Now, let us start with the principle of civic participation. Now, the concept of civic participation refers to the active involvement of citizens in the political, the social, and community life of their society. It encompasses voting, community organizing, advocacy, public debate, civil society engagement, peaceful protest, free speech and assembly, volunteering, and participation in public policy processes. At its core, civic participation reflects the idea that governance is not the exclusive domain of elected officials only, but a shared responsibility between the state and its citizens. In a classical political thought, participation is central to citizenship. Aristotle, the famous philosopher, had argued in politics that human beings are political animals, naturally inclined to live in organized societies where participation in public affairs defines good citizenship. For Aristotle, the health of the society depends not merely on rules, but on citizens who actively engage in deliberation and decision-making. Modern democratic theory, therefore, echoes this position. Democratic legitimacy flows not only from periodic elections, but from sustained engagement, critical discourse, and public oversight. Contemporary democratic theorists, including Robert Dahl, emphasize participation as a cornerstone of polity, a system characterized by inclusive suffrage, freedom of expression, and access to alternative sources of information. Similarly, Jürgen Habermas highlights the importance of the public sphere as a communicative space where citizens deliberate on matters of common concern. In his view, civic participation is both a right and a duty. It sustains democratic culture and guards against authoritarian drifts. In the digital era, civic participation has expanded beyond physical town halls and polling units to digital platforms. Social media, online fora, e-petitions, virtual hearings, and digital campaigns now serve as arena for political engagement. Citizens mobilize support through hashtags, organize crowdfunding initiatives, monitor elections through digital reporting tools, and engage directly with public officials online. Digital platforms have reduced barriers to participation by lowering the cost of communication and amplifying the marginalized voices. However, like I said previously, digital participation also has its own risks. Online misinformation, echo chambers, and algorithmic manipulation can distort public debate. The same technologies that empower citizens can be weaponized to polarize societies. Therefore, civic participation in the digital age requires not only access but digital literacy, ethical engagement, and institutional safeguards. Back home in Nigeria, civic participation has taken multiple forms since our return to democratic governance in 1999. Electoral participation remains a primary channel, with citizens voting in elections organized by INEC. The introduction of technologies such as the smart card reader and the bimodal accreditation system, BVAS, has increased transparency and citizens' confidence in the electoral processes. This was significantly treated with vehemence during the recent debate as to whether or not the 2026 Electoral Act should contain provisions mandating that the IRF should be a commanding and a mandatory medium for the transmission of results of our general elections. Now, beyond the elections, civil society organizations such as Enough is Enough Nigeria, Budget IT have empowered citizens to demand transparency in public finance and public governance. Budget IT Tracker Initiative, for example, enables citizens to monitor constituency projects and report abandoned or poorly executed projects through digital platforms. Digital activism has also reshaped Nigeria's civic landscape. The NSAS movement in 2020, amplified through platforms like the Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, mobilized millions of young Nigerians against police brutality linked to the SARS. The protests demonstrated the power of digital tools in agenda setting, fundraising, real-time coordination, and global advocacy. While the movement revealed the strength of youth engagements, it also highlighted the tensions between digital mobilization and state response. At the subnational level, civic participation increasingly includes community-based security initiatives, town hall meetings, participatory budgeting efforts in states like Kaduna, and public hearings in the National Assembly where citizens and advocacy groups make submissions on bills affecting public interest. For civic participation to strengthen accountable governance in Nigeria's digital era, 3 elements are critical. The first one is digital literacy. Citizens must be equipped sufficiently to critically evaluate online information and resist misinformation. 2, institutional responsiveness. Government agencies must respond transparently and promptly to citizens' feedback to build trust. 3, legal and ethical safeguards. Clear legal frameworks must protect freedom of assembly and expression while addressing harmful digital content. Ultimately, civic participation, whether in our village squares or digital spaces, remain the lifeblood of every democracy. In Nigeria's evolving democratic journey, the digitized era offers both unprecedented opportunities and profound challenges. The task before citizens, therefore, leaders and institutions, therefore, is to harness digital innovation in ways that deepen inclusion, strengthen the rule of law, and entrench accountable governance. Permit me to digress at this juncture on a special kind of civic participation which patently serves as the missing link to the enduring democratic culture that we all so fervently desire. This is the mobilization by the intelligentsia, the working class, and the elite in our society for popular civic participation in our democratic processes. There is an unwritten and eternal responsibility on this special class of persons who constitute the most remarkable demography in our society, having not just the power to understand the difference between right and wrong, the ability to mobilize the lower level of society, influence the leadership recruitment process by democratic means, either through contesting elections or presenting and supporting credible candidates to contest elections, but are also well equipped to demand accountability from our leaders for the collective benefit of all of us. Most recently, the ruling party, National Party, the APC, including other opposition parties in Nigeria, have been conducting their congresses at all levels of the democratic process. This exercise, the critical mass of during this exercise, the critical mass of our society was glaringly missing, reminiscent of our experience on the eve of our return to democracy in 1999, when those who could see developed cold feet and lethargy, abdicated from the process, thereby handing over the country into the hands of the blind, our second, third, or even in some cases, our fourth 11. The reality is that these congresses signal the take-off of the process of our leadership recruitment process for the 2027 general elections. With our elites, our intelligentsia, the academia, and the working class clearly missing from the ranks, it means yet another opportunity missed. In a democracy, once you miss participating in the rudimentary stages like the congresses, the process throws up to you candidates for election that you will have to put up with, whether it suits your expectations or not. This is the juncture where our participation would have made a remarkable difference to usher in the change that we all so desire. This culture of theorizing about our reality without actual civic participation and mobilization by the talkers in our political space will yield nothing, if at all. When we sit back in the comfort of our bedrooms, our offices, or even at social gatherings, blabbing about how best things can get, without participating or mobilizing civic participation, we risk even further gravitation to the abyss. Those on the saddle who do not mean well for the citizenry understand better how to hold onto the realm of power. And to rid them of this stranglehold requires a bit more than talk. But true civic participation by each of us in the critical demography who know how best to get things moving, but are not walking the talk. Make no mistake, the situation is getting worse than you think. The control of our shared destiny through leadership on the plank of democracy has been hijacked by an army of persons who see public office as a source of self-enrichment rather than service. This ecosystem is crowded by persons who have little or no commitment to the people or to the country. The contestation of political offices has been handed down to persons who have no primary business or professional accomplishments. It is viewed as the quickest way to get rich by most, and the alternative to those among us who are challenged themselves actualization. The scenario where those responsible for the processes are helpless and impoverished, who do not know better, is, to take care of our electoral fortunes is, to say the least, preposterous and appalling. The paradox for me is that those of us in the critical demography are actually there waiting for change, and soon. I'm not a pessimist, but I'm afraid that it is a fantasy taken too far. It is incumbent upon us to get involved one way or the other through active participation and mobilization of ourselves and our people in our leadership recruitment process through the democratic process. That way, we can begin to build a sustainable, veritable architecture of governance that can guarantee a future for our children and us. I wanted to put the us in parentheses. I want to say at this juncture, Mr. Chairman, that I want to present my testimony as a mark of extricating myself from talking and walking the talk. This happened when 3 years ago I made the decision to walk the talk, abandoned my legal practice and the classroom, and went into politics to be a participant, contested the position of State House of Assembly, and today I sit as a member of the State House of Assembly of Plateau State. But guess what? The first curiosity was from among the talkers, who believed that as a professor of law and as a senior advocate of Nigeria, it was preposterous and demeaning for me to participate in the process of governing the destiny of our people. These are the same people that are supposed to be engaged in active participation. The second experience that I had is the fact that I am alone. Yeah, I am alone for those of us that are supposed to be out there participating in regenerating the political and democratic fortunes of our country are still out there talking and not walking. That's why I want to take this moment to congratulate His Royal Majesty for abandoning his professional career, being a senior advocate of Nigeria and a professor, distinguished professor of law, and to hearken to the call of his forefathers to participate every day. I have not visited him in the palace, but I can imagine the quantum of responsibility that rests on his shoulders every day in respect of transforming his community and the people in that community. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. And I'm challenging all of us today to reconsider the talking approach and engage the walking approach. Perhaps somewhere along the line, those of us in the elite class or the working class would meet and consider this change for the benefit of our children. So when I ask you to participate, I'm not asking you to contest elections. But how do you just lock yourself up in your house when the leadership recruitment of your immediate constituency, your polling unit, is being decided? That's the day that our elites actually rest. That's when they sleep. Mr. Chairman, sir. When the day, all these dates you have declared for elections have actually been technically converted by our elites and the working class for holidays. That's when they will rest. And then they complain when leaders are thrown up at them. And I hold the view with the greatest respect that as long as this trajectory is not changed, the dream of having this new reality will remain an unending fantasy, God forbid. Now, the rule of law is the second pillar that I want to talk about. The rule of law is the fundamental principle of law which speaks to the fact that no individual or institution is above the law. Not rulers, not government agencies, not citizens, not citizens. It commands equality before the law, due process, judicial independence, transparency in legal procedures, and the predictable and fair application of laws. The classical articulation of the rule of law is associated with A.V. Dicey, who emphasized three core elements in the principles of the rule of law. They are the supremacy of the law, equality before the law, and the predominance of legal spirit in constitutional governance. A.V. Dicey argued that government authority must be exercised within clearly established legal frameworks, not through arbitrary powers. Modern constitutional democracies have institutionalized the rule of law through independent judiciaries, constitutional supremacy, and judicial review. Thinkers such as Montesquieu reinforced the doctrine of separation of powers as a structured safeguard against abuse. By dividing governmental authority into legislative, executive, and judicial branches, the system ensures checks and balances that protect citizens' liberties. In Nigeria, the rule of law is constitutionally entrenched under sections 1, subsection 1 and 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which establishes the supremacy of the Constitution and provides that any law that is inconsistent with its provisions shall be void to the extent of its inconsistency. The Constitution further outlines the fundamental rights in I'm so sorry, I've been warned. So I need to time myself. The Constitution further outlines fundamental human rights in its chapter 4 and defines the powers of government institutions and provides mechanisms for judicial review. So please bear with me, I'll have to be doing a bit of skipping. In a very recent statement released by the former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar, he accused the Nigerian government of running a deliberate and coordinated campaign to crush opposition voices and impose total political control ahead of the 2027 elections. He alleged that the sustained targeting of opposition figures like former Governor Nasir El-Rufai and former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami SN, is part of a strategy to coerce Nigerians into abandoning opposition politics and falling in line with the ruling APC. The screenshot shows an ongoing competition between adherence to the rule of law on the one hand and the use of executive arbitrariness on the other. Nigerians have been battling to understand the distinction line between the use of the ruling party to absolve alleged criminal liability and corruption charges on the one hand, and the culpability and strict application of the rule of law for those who have either refused to fall in line or are members of the opposition parties. Wherein lies the application of these defined principles of the rule of law, which pontificates equality before the law and that no one is above the law. Your guess is as good as mine. This argument was reinforced by the mass exodus of opposition state governors and legislators to the ruling party. The former vice president added that when opposition is criminalized and dissent is punished, election becomes a mere formality. It's Atiku that said it, Mr. Chairman, not me. Thank you. Now, the protection of fundamental rights such as freedom of expression, assembly, personal liberty, fair hearing is central to the rule of law. Furthermore, Nigeria's Cybercrime Prohibition Prevention Act 2024 criminalizes hacking, identity theft, cyber stalking, and online fraud. While the Act strengthens cybersecurity and protects digital transactions, its implementation has also sparked debate about balancing national security with the freedom of expression. ensuring that cybercrime laws are not misapplied to silence critics is essential. Laws regulating online conduct must be clear, proportionate, and consistent with constitutional guarantees. Technological innovations introduced by INEC, such as electronic transmission of results and biometric accreditation systems, aim at enhancing the electoral integrity of Nigeria. However, disputes over technological glitches or compliance with electoral guidelines, such as inconsistencies in uploading results on the IREF portal, have required judicial interpretation in the past. The Supreme Court has held in a plethora of cases that electronic transmission, as was under the Electoral Act 2022, and I dare say under the Electoral Act 2026, is not a compulsory statutory requirement for the transmission of election results during our general elections. The events in the country leading to the amendment of the Electoral Act and those that followed the assent of the Electoral Act 2026 by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria left many pundits wondering. Generally, protestations were recorded across board, ranging from civil society organizations to election advocacy groups, including legislative watchdogs, calling for clearer safeguards and warning that discretionary clauses contained in the Electoral Act would compromise transparency and dent our electoral credibility in the eyes of the world. Not surprisingly, the dust over the passage of the Electoral Act 2026 is still hanging, with some political parties and watchdogs purportedly threatening action and even possible boycott of the 2027 general elections. This matter is a typology of the participation of citizenry in the process of policy and law making. Whose voice is being heard here? Is it law according to the voice of the people or law according to the voice of the establishment? This clear and present disconnect portends a major gulf in our mobilization approach and engagement, excluding the voices of those that matter. Let me observe at this point that the power of a strong, sustainable, and unimpeachable electoral legal framework is a sine qua non to a perfect electoral system. But democratic integrity, clarity of purpose, and national commitment all depend on the indispensable political will and civic responsibility of leadership. One cannot replace the other. It goes without saying, therefore, that to achieve our desired outcomes, systems and institutions responsible for safeguarding our democracy must inevitably command the respect and confidence of the citizens and the electorate. The preponderance of the trust deficits between leadership and the governed is a matter of concern. Not much can be achieved when everything is viewed through the lens of suspicion and skepticism. This subject of trust must be built into the framework for change and transformation for change to be legitimate and sustainable. Now, beyond the philosophical pontification of the principles of the rule of law, to my mind, the principle connotes the expectations of good and civilized governance. Regrettably, this principle largely remains elitist without any impactful meaning on the citizenry. The common man on the street expects that that principle should simply transform to good lives for our people and transform them from where they are currently to where they should be. To the common man, the rule of law should mean good food on their tables, functional schools, modern well-equipped hospitals, provision of basic amenities like water, roads, jobs, telecommunications, electricity, and many others. While these expectations are valid demands, the state continues to grapple with scarce resources. This is an opportunity, therefore, to use the schism of civic participation and the need for a new meaning for the principle of law, the rule of law, to be people-centric. It must gravitate towards changing society to become better and connect directly with the people. The degree of degeneration of the most important indices of our lives is at an alarming rate. It goes on unnoticed and therefore undiagnosed. In some cases, it goes on with impunity and a complete lack of emotion. How do you explain the scenario where children of government functionaries actually shy away from public schools and their children are sent to private schools or even abroad to study, ignoring our dilapidated schools in shambles? It's even worse when it involves the children of the commissioners, ministers of education, and other education functionaries. The same applies to healthcare, transportation, electricity, and other relevant indices in the ecosystem. Rather than fix the problems for collective benefit of all of us, they find individual solutions that benefit them alone and not the nation. This approach to governance and the rule of law is perverse and unacceptable. The call is therefore for the principle of volunteerism to mobilize the presence and the mind of the people for civic participation. The rule of law cannot thrive in isolation or in an environment of lack and deprivation. It will fade into obscurity and largely remain academic. So I have just a few minutes to wrap up, 15 more pages. I'll use AI to do it. So quickly about accountable governance. It refers to a system of public administration, blah, 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 blah. At the core of, that's AI. Now, at its core, accountable governance is rooted in the principle that sovereignty ultimately resides in the people. Public officials, whether elected representatives, appointed administrators, or judicial officers, derive their authority from the Constitution and the consent of the government. Consequently, they must be prepared to provide reason for their actions and accept consequences where misconduct, negligence, or incompetence is established. Without accountability, democratic institutions become hollow and governance degenerates into impunity. I'll go to the conclusion. But you know, for us as lawyers, there is in the end, there is finally, and there is in conclusion. So I'm starting with the conclusion. Now we live in a period widely described by scholars and policy analysts as the fourth industrial revolution, a transformative era that is characterized by the fusion of digital, biological, and physical technologies. The phase of technological advancement, as popularized by clouds, is marked by artificial intelligence, big data analytics, blockchain systems, cloud computing, robotics, and the Internet of Things. Unlike previous industrial revolutions that primarily mechanized production or expanded electricity and computing, the current revolution fundamentally reshapes how societies are organized, how governments function, and how citizens interact with public authority. Digital technologies are gradually redefining governance structures across the world. Governments increasingly rely on e-government portals to deliver public services efficiently and transparently. Through these platforms, citizens can apply for licenses, register businesses, access public records, and submit complaints without physically visiting government offices. Digital identity systems have streamlined citizens' authentication, enabling secure access to services and financial systems while enhancing administrative efficiency. Online tax systems allow individuals and corporations to file returns electronically, improving revenue collection and reducing bureaucratic governance. The freedom of expression and assembly are fundamental rights that are embedded in the core principles of democracy. In pursuit of this important democratic command, Section 39 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria guaranteed the right to freedom of expression and the press. On the flip side of the coin, Sections 24, 45 to 49 of the Cybercrimes Prohibition and Prevention Act 2015 appear to have curtailed, abridged, and emasculated the refined guarantees of the Constitution cited above in relation to the freedom of speech in our democracy. Expectedly, the National Human Rights Commission raised concerns about the Act, the amendments made in 2024, and the Act's impact on the freedom of expression. The thrust of the concerns raised centered on the penchant for security agents in the country to rely on its provisions to suppress dissent and political opposition. The National Human Rights Commission observed further that these provisions have great potential for abuse, particularly with respect to arrest and prosecution of activists, journalists, bloggers, and the ordinary social media users. Further to the foregoing, the ECOWAS Community Court of Justice had in 2022 ruled that the Cybercrimes Act was not in conformity with the country's obligations related to freedom of expression under the African Charter for Human and People's Rights and the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. Dele Farotimi, a renowned journalist, was charged with 12 counts of cybercrime after he reported alleged corruption in the judiciary in a book and on a podcast. He was detained in Lagos, arraigned in Ekiti, and brought to court in handcuffs. Although the charges were later dropped, the aftermath of that development was troubling to the media community, which views the act as a ready weapon for suppressing free speech in blatant violation of the provisions of the 1999 Constitution. In the end, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as we stand at the crossroads of technological innovation and democratic governance, it is imperative for us to recognize that the digital era is not an immutable destiny. It is a design shaped by human choices. Every line of code, every algorithm, every digital platform reflects decisions made by people, and these decisions have profound implications for civil lives. For civic life, governance, and the rule of law. The tools of digital age are neutral in themselves, but their impact, positive or negative, depends on how we wield them. If citizens, particularly the active group, disengage from civil life, digital spaces risk becoming the arena of manipulation, misinformation, and polarization. Social media campaigns may replace substantive debates, online algorithms may reinforce echo chambers, and digital platforms may be exploited to undermine democratic norms. Likewise, if the rule of law is weakened, the very tools that could promote transparency and justice can instead be weaponized for surveillance, oppression, or arbitrary decision-making. Legal protections, judicial oversight, and enforceable regulations are the safeguards that prevent technology from being turned against democratic good. Now, in conclusion, as we gather here this afternoon to celebrate this Founders Day event, we are reminded not only of the vision and courage of those who established this institution, but also of the enduring responsibility that comes with that legacy. The founders understood that education is a transformative force capable of shaping minds, values, and societies. Today, that transformation is increasingly going digital. Technology perverts every aspect of governance, civic life, and social interaction. It is no longer a distant influence, it's an immediate reality. Now, the future of democratic governance in a digital era, therefore, depends not only on innovation, but on integrity. Not only on connectivity, but on responsibility. Not only on data, but on dignity. It requires that citizens remain engaged and informed, that institutions uphold the rule of law, and that leaders are held accountable for their actions, whether it be online or offline. Let this Founders Day serve as a moment of reflection and resolve. Let us, as educators, policymakers, and active citizens, commit ourselves squarely to building a society where civic participation is not just encouraged, but celebrated, where the rule of law is not merely an ideal, but a lived reality, and where governance, whether in the digital sphere or beyond, is truly accountable. By so doing, we honor the vision of our founders, and we secure a future in which democracy, justice, and human dignity thrive in a rapidly evolving world. Thank you so much for listening. I sincerely appreciate it.
Let's put our hands together for the guest lecturer. Forgive us, we have to stampede you at a point. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Prof, thank you. Thank you. We truly appreciate the lecture. Please, I want to also introduce Mr. Lawal Pedro, SAN, the Honorable Commissioner for Justice and Attorney General of Lagos State. Welcome, sir. Welcome. Let me also introduce Professor K.A. Olatoye, Dean of Law, Lagos State University. Welcome, sir. Also introduce Honorable Justice Adedayo Oyebanji, of Lagos State High Court. Welcome. I had introduced, let me do this introduction again. Honorable Justice Nicole K, who is representing the Chief Judge of Lagos State, Honorable Justice Kasim Olanrewaju Aloba. Thank you, ma'am. All right. Please, I'm taking a pause for the exit of the Asaba and then I'll continue. Thank you so much, His Royal Majesty. Thank you so much.
Notice.
We have listened to the lecture.
Oh, wait.
It is time for
Let's carry our sir. Well, you can do driver's notice. Huh? Exactly. Yes, yes. You're supposed to give them notice. You can, although most where they steam, most since. Most I go the on since. The 3 times I wonder. Before we put in here, I can go to the what did they put in here? Am I paying the but they put our food. On a keep here. Well done. Well, they are blocking us now. They are definitely blocking. Okay. Stop shouting. I'm shouting. Okay. Right now, wait. Okay. Is this my Prado? What are you okay? Okay. Right down. That baby, I got. Oh, but no, it's not. But no, it's more rainfall. Where are we in the hotel? No, no, no.